Hello and welcome to the World Predictions podcast with me, your host, Psychic Selina. I'm a psychic medium and astrologer, and you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and of course, subscribe free to my YouTube channel. They are all under the name of Soul-Voyance, and I also offer psychic readings. You can book them under the link in my bio. That's my website link. So on today's show, we're going to be talking about lots of psychic predictions that have come in. And we won't even have time to do a paranormal topic. So I'm going to put a special topic today, which is my serial killer prediction. But stay tuned because that's a bit later on. So we're going to start with all the big news headlines and predictions that came in the last 7 days. So the first big one was digital IDs. Now, I've always said for a while now about digital IDs and currencies, and the two are linked together. So actually last Wednesday when I did my podcast, I actually made a prediction live on air that digital IDs will be going ahead very soon, and they will be announced by the UK government. And lo and behold, the next day, Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, he actually made a public announcement that they're now going to introduce digital IDs. A lot of viewers have been asking me, what do I think is going to happen with this? Well, digital IDs have a lot of pros, but they also have a lot of cons. Most countries in Europe already have them. They can be quite effective for preventing identity fraud and also to prevent some forms of illegal working. This is because if they use something called face recognition, where the camera app scans your face, so it's similar to online banking, voice recognition and face recognition. I don't know if they're going to have this, but if they have this included in them, then this will be a good thing to prevent illegal working and also identity fraud, because you can't really create a fake face scan, can you? You can with a passport, but you can't with an actual digital face recognition or voice recognition. The downside of this is a lot of fear over the government could want to take control over our lives, such as our bank accounts, our food, our access to things. They could be a situation where, say, there's a criminal and they want to catch them, and this could be a great way of stopping criminals leaving the country due to the digital IDs, because they won't be able to get through at the airport. There's lots of good points, but there's also a lot of negative cons as well to this application, because it could mean control over a lot of our lives. So this is where it's really grey area. It's a really grey area. I'm seeing that they will go ahead and be mandatory, as Keir Starmer has said, for the UK. So I think the only thing I'm seeing with the control is, I remember Rishi Sunak, the ex-UK Prime Minister, had said that if younger adults do not comply with national conscription, that means having to join the army or having to do some sort of training, join the army or the services, then he would stop or freeze their bank accounts, or freeze something along the lines of freezing their income or funds or bank accounts. And I actually posted the video of him saying that on my TikTok. And I think it was on my stories very recently. So these are really scary things that has been said. Maybe they can freeze things. Maybe if we don't always comply with certain new laws or new regulations, new systems, they could have a lot of control over us. I'm not being shown any control at the moment. I'm not seeing any drastic freezing of anything at the moment, but this is something that could be implemented later on. So it is a bit scary. And I know a lot of people are against digital IDs, and in the UK, and they're doing a petition. I think so far it was over 2 million people signed it. So we will have to see what happens next with the digital IDs. Number two was Trump, and well, it was actually a nuclear submarine, but also Trump making comments about sending some nuclear submarines, or sending he said there was more, it was two submarines he sent to the waters near Russia, because he said it was to do with the N word, which was to do with nuclear, something about nuclear, the word nuclear. And he was just like saying it's for safety measures to check what's going on there in those waters. So that sort of came in with that. But the main prediction I'd made about the nuclear submarine was a nuclear submarine with a Russian link would have some sort of explosion. And what happened was there was a nuclear Russian submarine. I think it was carrying something nuclear in it, and it was in the Mediterranean, and there was a lot of fears over a technical problem it was having, and that it could explode. So we'll have to watch this one with a submarine, because it can have more than one meaning sometimes, or more than one outcome with nuclear submarines. There's a bit of a strange one there. There's quite a few developments with that submarine. And it made me think of that Beatles song, we're all going on the yellow submarine. Do you remember? We're all going on the yellow submarine. So when Trump was saying about that submarine, that's the song that came into my head. I wouldn't fancy going on the submarine myself, because it's very claustrophobic, and your voice goes very funny when you're deep under the ground. And I'd be scared it would implode or something. Oh dear, I'd rather be on flat land. Okay, now we're just going into another Trump prediction while we're here. Now, I made this prediction a while ago about news headlines, that Trump would say something along the lines of horses for courses, or something with horses. So it came in, I think I made that prediction in June, and I posted it. And he said it was something about the vaccines giving that amount of vaccine to a horse, and he repeated it. It goes, it's to a horse, or you wouldn't give that to a horse, or you'd give that amount to a horse, or something. So that was really interesting headline about horses for Trump. I must admit, some of the stuff I get for Trump is funny, is hilarious. I was saying that I don't seem to get as much funny stuff for the UK politicians. They're not very comedic, are they, as people? So that could be why. Now, on to cryptocurrency. I made a prediction recently that cryptocurrency would have a really steep dip, and heading for a crash. That's come in. It did dip quite a lot in the last 7 days. I do see small fluctuations there, but my predictions long term with cryptocurrency and currencies in general is that the stock market will crash briefly. I feel more next year. Could be linked with wars, World War III wars, instigations of that. And then I see it recovering, and I see it recovering quite quickly. With crypto, I see it fluctuating, but then I see it actually completely being wiped out. I'm seeing some sort of bug in the system with crypto, and people will find it very hard to get their money back or get their money out. So, long-term thing with crypto, it will completely be eradicated. I'm seeing that everything will be a cashless system, and then eventually, I'd say in 10 to 12 years, it might even be before that. Well, actually, what I'm seeing is there'll be a third world war, and it's after that third world war will be short. And after that third world war, there'll be a one world currency. There'll be a cashless system for a bit, and then a one world currency. and that will be named after a Roman god. And around that time, crypto will completely dissolve. There'll be issues, bugs and stuff just completely eradicated for some reason. I don't know what it is, but it's quite a big thing. It might be a cyber attack, I'm not sure, but this is all just after the Third World War. And there's a Fourth World War much later in around 50 years, and that's very robotic, AI robotic war in 50 years, around 50, 60 years. That's what I saw. So World War III is sort of escalations are starting going into next year, even this year. I wouldn't say a full declaration this year, but the instigations of NATO and just, moving forward with NATO and war escalations in general. I'm also seeing a new war that emerges in the world, and this will be in South Africa. But I will post more on that on next week's shock predictions. So keep watching my YouTube channel. So we're now going into the royals. So the royals, my major prediction that the royal family would ostracize the Duchess of York. And of course, they have announced this week that they will be freezing them out and not allowing them to come to the Christmas celebrations for Duchess of York and Prince Andrew. Longer term, I see Prince Andrew having a health scare, could be his heart. And I think the Duchess of York will actually emigrate. She will leave the United Kingdom and maybe move to a French-speaking country. So this could be France, Switzerland, or Monaco. That's what I'm seeing. And I actually feel this move will be really soon because she's already sold her house, one of her properties, she already sold them in London. So I do feel she is actually looking at using that money to purchase property abroad, move abroad. Now for some scary predictions that came in. There's two really scary ones. Are you ready for them? The first one is really not for the faint-hearted, and it's actually about a serial killer I predicted. So I predicted there would be, this was about a week and a half ago, there would be a serial killer or, a notorious killer that's found, identified, caught and charged. And I do see a sentencing. He's actually admitted it. And he actually killed both his parents and dug holes in their back garden and buried them. I saw that it was in a garden near a shed, like underground near a shed, garden shed, and it was more than one body, and that there was a P initial for someone linked to the case, and that was the interviewer was a P initial. I think it was a P. I can't even remember. And then I saw that there was something to do with a link with Germany, a German name, a German or Austrian sounding name, and a really strong link to Germany. And his name is Kraus Lorenz, or Lorenz Kraus. I can't remember the way around his name is. That's a German Austrian sounding name. And also he told everyone, so when his parents went missing 8 years ago, he told all the neighbors they immigrated to Germany. And that they just dug up the garden last week, or it was on Wednesday and Thursday, found the bodies, and then he confessed on Thursday on national television to the P initial male interviewer, and then he got arrested. And the other link I got for him was that he had been some sort of religious leader or teacher, public speaking, something to do with religion. And it turns out he ran for presidency in 2020 for an anti-Semitic party. So there you go. So I was kind of getting the gist of it there, like a religious fanatic or something like this. This is what I saw. Very interesting serial killer prediction. I actually feel that they're going to discover a third body. It's a female. It will be buried underground in a wooded area, woods, trees, forest, and that he knows this person, so they're going to question him. He knew her, or there was evidence that he knew her in the past, and they're going to question him and link him to the murder. So he could, in fact, be a real serial killer. We don't know yet. And I feel this is going to come out quite soon. He's somewhat, a viewer said he looked creepy. He looks very creepy. He looks a bit like something out of a Stephen King film. A complete psychopath when I tuned into him. No social skills whatsoever. It's very interesting. We're learning about psychopaths. So now the next prediction that came in was a really scary one as well. It was the jewelry heist. And I saw a big jewelry heist in diamond jewelry shop thought it was somewhere like Florida. So I saw palm trees, beach, hot weather, warm in winter, kind of tropical Mediterranean climates, definitely in America. And it would happen within a couple of weeks of the prediction. So it came in, everything was correct, except it was in California, wasn't in Florida, but it was a similar kind of look to the area. And it was around 20 masked robbers came in with pickaxes and smashed up the jewelry shop. So it was filmed on CCTV. So I put the little clip on my social media. So that was a scary one. So now for some more light-hearted ones. We have the AI police car has come in. So this was in Dubai, and it's a new police car that has an AI system. And I saw this, so this will be interesting. I hope it will still be able to catch criminals, even though it is AI. Who knows? It might be better at driving than the humans. We don't know. And we've also got The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. I made a prediction for my January predictions on the 1st of January that Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, will be announcing that he ran for some sort of political election or political, to run for something as a politician or something like that. He's announcing it. And that he would do really well. He would announce that he did well. And he actually told everyone this week that he actually ran for US presidency. And this came as a shock to a lot of people. And he said that he got 49% votes or something. I don't know what that means, but he obviously did well. And I just saw him having something to do with politics. So he may actually go forward with politics more. That's what I'm seeing next for him. Believe it or not, a lot of politicians and presidents started off as actors or lawyers. And that's all to do with public speaking and performance. I personally don't like acting for myself. I'm more of a singer. I don't really enjoy acting, but yes, some of them they're very good at acting, aren't they? And finally, we have our weather prediction. I predicted that there would be a big tornado hurricane approaching the UK very soon. Of course, it came in the news yesterday that there are two big hurricanes in the Bermuda and Florida area, and they will be approaching the UK very soon. And they had unusual names. I think one was Hurricane Imelda, and then there was another one, but it's on my social media. And when it happens, I will post again, and I will let you know next week on next week's podcast. So look out for the hurricanes. Best thing to do in a hurricane is stay indoors. I've been caught in a windsock once, and it's not pleasant. I'm very small as well, not height-wise, but I'm very slim. So, when the wind comes, it just literally lifts me off the ground. So I had to hold on to a wall once. Yeah, quite dangerous there. So remember, you can actually follow me on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Podbean. You can listen to me on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a whole range of different podcast apps. And the name is the World Predictions Podcast. And to follow me on the social media, it's Soul-Voyance. All the links are under my YouTube video. And of course, if you want to book a psychic or astrology reading, my website link is under this video. And if you refer one friend, you get a £20 voucher. So remember to do your referrals if you can. And remember, this show is on every Wednesday. It's the World Predictions Podcast with me, Psychic Selina. And I will definitely be seeing you next week for some more psychic predictions and paranormal stories. Bye for now.